Hello and welcome to yet another build guide 0 to Hero edition. Unfortunately, this one is not as beginner friendly as I would like it to be, as this build lacks a little bit of defense, but it basically has a lot more damage than it has in defense, so you can play things around like that. Welcome to Hierophant. This is a power charge stacking monster that has almost 100% crit chance, if not 100%, in certain situations. Terms and conditions apply. But when it comes to the build itself, the build has excellent single and AoE damage. Absolutely obliterates everything. However, because the build uses a lot of uniques, it doesn't have the greatest defense and synergy for defense unless we are doing the expensive version, which we will cover briefly there. Now, as this is not beginner friendly video, I might as well just skip a lot of unnecessary talk about how to level, yada yada. Everything is in the POB from Act 1 through the acts, through the white maps, yellow maps, red maps, some expensive upgrades, current gear, and theory crafting, which is going to be omega expensive. But we've covered these extensively on stream, and now we're going to do it in video form. Now, when it comes to Reap itself, you can't level it immediately. You have to wait for like level 20 something, so it's in Act 3. But anyways, what is Reap? Reap is an ability that when you have it by itself, it looks like this. So it hits once with a scythe with like, what is that, 270-degree angle. And that basically deals a bit of bleed damage, but it has a very high hit. We are using it for Impale. Now, when you do Awaken Spell Cascade, you can do regular Cascade. Cascade regular gives you like 3 lines. Awaken Spell Cascade gives you 5. Regular Cascade here, Cascade gives you in front like 1 2 3 1 2 3. That's basically it. That's the difference. Awaken Spell Cascade also does a lot more damage. We are also using Spell Echo support because we want to double the amount of hits as we're using Impale. Power Charge, of course, as we're stacking Brutality because we need that one. Anyways, how does this build work? We are using Entropic Devastation gloves, which give us Call of Steel is irrelevant, don't use it. Critical strikes with spells inflict Impale. So whenever we deal a crit as we are power charge stacking, that's going to be a lot of times, if not all of the time, we are then going to inflict an Impale. An Impale is when an impaled enemy is hit, the Impale reflects 10% of the physical damage of the impaling hit to that enemy. An Impale lasts for 5 hits or 8 seconds. So basically, whenever we hit, we deal more damage based off the hit itself. That's the baseline. Now, for power charge stacking, there's nothing better than Void Battery, at least very early, because we get maximum power charges, we get spell damage per power charge, we do get reduced spell damage, but that's offset by the amount of power charge that we have, and we have crit. Now, on the actual ones there, they're basically the same ones. The quality we want to do area of effect because all of the other ones are based on the attack portion, which we don't use, so we don't care about that one. Next one that's very important is Dialla's Malefaction with 2 or 3 reds and rest greens, which basically give us red gems give +2 to level, well, red sockets, green sockets give 30 to quality, and that's what we want to do for Empower and for Reap. So Reap and Empower. Empower just gives us extra levels because Reap loves levels. Next thing, you can do +2 to level of socketed AoE gems or +2 to level of socketed duration gems, whichever one is cheaper. This one should be around 3 divines. But if you go with both, with +4, good luck. Anyways, next one, we have a helmet with mana reservation efficiency, loads of it with intelligence. So you roll it with essence for mana res efficiency, which is loathing, until you get intelligence, and then you fix prefixes and do implicits, and that's basically it. Next unique is Replica Dragonfang's Flight for level of Reap gems, reservation efficiency, reduced attribute requirements is okay, and LRS is okay. and we want to allocate Infused, which is another power charge over here. Next thing, Ralakesh's boots for endurance charges. You can go with frenzy charges, and then instead of this, you would use a replica or a badge of the Brotherhood, not replica. You would use badge of the Brotherhood instead with frenzy charges, but we would lose like 20+% damage reduction from endurance charges, which is kind of a lot if you ask me. So there's that. If you want to do frenzy charges and badge of the Brotherhood, then that's completely fine. You will do slightly less damage on average, but you will attack faster and stuff, so that can help too. So this one is endurance charges. Now to complement our damage, we have Arn's Anguish, which is basically giving us these brutal charges that have 3% chance to deal triple damage and 10% increased stun threshold per brutal charge, which basically we have 6 of, so that is 18% chance to deal triple damage. Rings both have the +1 to minimum endurance charges that you want to do, because this transfers to brutal charges, which means we don't need to generate charges as we are sitting on 6 anyways. 4 from the tree plus ascendancy, and 2 additional 1 from the tree, which is basically minimum equals maximum, and that means we always have brutal charges. However, endurance charges we get from Ralakesh's boots. So one is a stat filler with dexterity, life, chaos res, and the other one is also like LRS, chaos res, and life. Same thing applies. Now, when it comes to flasks, the most important flask is the diamond flask, and you want it to be used when you hit a rare or unique enemy, if not already in effect, because that's where we always lack damage on rare or unique enemies. Rest of the flasks is just your standard granite flask with armor, quicksilver flask with damage taken from hits leeches life, and silver flask with chance to avoid being stunned during effect, which basically gives us 100% chance, roughly, to avoid being stunned during effect, which included with this one stun threshold, which is really good. All prefixes are chance to gain flask charge when you deal a crit strike, and your classic instant, divine life flask. Now onto the tree itself. As you can see, tree is quite spread out. We are chasing charges, and we are chasing like some masteries, take reduced extra damage from crits. But let's talk about the simple things first. Simple thing number 1 being large cluster jewel. We need 2 of these with Furious Assault, Iron Breaker, and Master the Fundamentals. These are generally not that expensive. They are like half a divine to a divine each, depending on when you are in league. Like I paid for both of these, I paid 1 divine, so half a divine each. Now they're like a divine whatever, but like I'm recording this way late, like 5 in the morning, so that's prices change. Next one, Megalomaniac. Megalomaniac that we are using currently, destructive aspect for reservation efficiency, antifreeze for cold resistance maximum and cold res, and essence rush for energy shield leech, which is generally very useful. This Megalomaniac, I think you would have to remove antifreeze, and then you can get these 2, or you can remove destructive aspect and go with another one with determination, mana reservation efficiency, whichever one you pick, that's it. Essence rush is mandatory, and one of the 2, either destructive aspect or the one for determination, are technically mandatory because of mana reservation and the manas that auras that we are running. Now, Watcher's Eye that we need is mandatory for vitality. Damage leeches as life while affected by vitality, and impales for pride. So that one is mandatory. That one is roughly a divine. So that one is very cheap. We'll get to Militant Faith in a second. And all of the mastery nodes are basically just for like defense and such. This is the second one. And then the last 4 levels from level 95 to 98, we are going with Cluster Jewel. That is pressure points and quick getaway for double damage. This one can be up to 1 divine. I paid around 100 chaos for this one. We get attack, cast speed, movement speed, crit chance, and crit strikes have 5% chance to deal double damage, which synergizes well with a triple damage on the Arn's Anguish. Now, when it comes to the jewels, we just want crit on the jewels. Basically it. That's it. Now, the unique jewel, one more impossible escape in the radius of chaos inoculation. That one is usually 4 or 5 divines. Oh, now it dropped to 3, which we are using then for double curse and for reservation efficiency. Now on to the big gun. Big gun is big problem. Hello and welcome to Militant Faith with area damage per devotion and increased effect of non-curse auras. The second line is whatever you want. You can do effective non-cursors, you can do elemental resistances, you can do whatever the hell you want. However, the problem is you need to save. You need to save a lot of nodes. Now for that one, in the POB itself, I have set it up like this. So let's hope this works for you as well. When you open up my POB and when you click Find Timeless Jewel, it should already be set up. Now, protect allocated nodes. Add all of them. Arcing Capacitor, Overcharge, blah, 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 blah. So you add all of them. And then here comes the hard part. You do area damage and then whatever else. You click search. And then you click copy trade URL. And then you go on trade. And then you're like, it doesn't exist. One does exist, 43 divines. That's ludicrous. Next. Copy next. Boop. Next. Oh, look. This one is 23 divines. Copy next. Oh, look. There we go. Next one. This one is 250 divines. Whatever. Copy next. Click, click. Until you find one that is cheap. This took me, for the build that I did, for like this one, it took me an hour. 1 hour of going copy next, search, copy next, search, copy next, search. It took an hour. So keep that in mind. If you want to spend less currency, of course. I spent 10 divines on this one. And I found, I put it in the notes here. These guys were selling for 5 divines or less. So it took me a long time to get because it's such a pain due to it having like these things and you have to like search 8 of them per. So you have like 300 of them to search. So good luck. So Militant Faith is a problem. Next thing that I have added in the POB that I don't have on here are tattoos for regen life per second, which I should add because Reap wants regen life per second. Now, for everything else, you can consult with the POB. And as I said, this is not a beginner-friendly build guide, but it is still a 0 to hero build guide. And now let's go over some of the mega expensive things, and that's going to be it for the video. Now, mega expensive things means, well, Dialla +4, 750 divines if you want to buy it or make it. Gloves, double corruption with high corruption. Ralakesh with endurance charges, 150 divines if you want to get it. Replica Dragonfang flight, apply an additional curse, that's a unicorn. You have to buy and then double corrupt yourself. Ring with maximum power charges, 350 divines plus crafting. Enjoy. Calandra's Touch, that's cheap in comparison. Arn's Anguish with LA resistances, you gotta make yourself, that's a unicorn. Bottled Faith, that you can buy, but it's like 20-30 divines for 146+%. So there's that one. Militant Faith, I kept the same one because there's no need to change it. And Forbidden Flame and Flesh for mana reservation efficiency for Unwavering Faith, that's total of like 10 divines, but that's, keep in mind, build is level 100. So that is going to allow us to get different things. Megalomaniac, we've changed into Essence Rush and Enduring Composure because we want Endurance Charge every second if you've been hit recently, and we are doing this with Endurance Charges. Now for the skills, well, good luck. Empower 4 becomes Awakened Empower 5. Spell Echo becomes Awakened Spell Echo. And everything else gets upgraded to Cahoots. So Enlighten 4s, everything. So good luck with that. That was theory crafted. So it's total around 2,500 divines. But the build then deals like 60-something million silly ass damage. Like it's just crazy. Like 50 here, and then you have a Conk Ground. Yes, and there you go, 65. The build itself, anyways, one-shots in this current form. This is up to 50 divine version. So it's in between 30 and 50 divines, depending on what you want. This version that I'm currently playing, that you can find on my profile or in my current setup, can one-shot Ubers, but it gets one-shot by Ubers still. So you can do that one. Otherwise, what am I doing with this build? Doing any content. You can do Delve, you can do Abyss, it can do... other than Fizz as extra elements, so that's a problem because we need more max res. It does Legion, Breach, it's literally whatever the quack you want. I prefer doing June. June is very, very quick, very fast. I was trying to do Delve to find Owl, but I didn't. But it annihilates everything. However, the reason why I am not putting it as beginner friendly is because defenses are slim. So you need to learn how it functions, and you need to do things like a little bit more properly to actually survive things. I have plenty of deaths. However, the reason why I've died like 40-50 times, I was doing the Breachstone strategy, which is one of my previous videos, where you do 4 Breachstones invitation, 4 Breachstones invitations, 4 Breachstones. That's why I leveled this. And in the invitation, you don't lose experience when you die, so I don't care. Sometimes I died 5 times, who cares? But yeah, that's where I accrued all the deaths. Now, the build is really solid, really nice, feels good to play. You can do Elementalist version with like Elemental Reap and whatever, but this will conclude the build itself. Once again, big ass disclaimer, the build is not beginner friendly, but the build is 0 to Hero edition, basically to the point where I have come to, and then even farther with theory crafting. So if you enjoyed this type of content, feel free to give it a like, sub if you don't mind. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next PoE video or stream. Have a good one.